Jets got Will McDonald at pick number 15, the edge rusher out of Iowa State in the second round. They went Joe Tippmann, the center out of Wisconsin. No third round pick. Carter Warren, the offensive tackle from Pittsburgh in the fourth. Your boy, Israel Abanikanda, the halfback from Pittsburgh in the fifth round. Zaire Barnes, the linebacker from Western Michigan in the sixth. Bernard Converse, Jared Bernard Converse, the cornerback from LSU in the sixth round as well. And then Zach Kuntz. They won the Zach Kuntz sweepstakes of probably the greatest combine performance of all time. If none of you have seen it, go over to mockdraftable.com, type in Zach Kuntz's name and see one of the most well filled out spider graphs you're ever going to see in your scouting career. So Connor, what'd you think of the Jets pick? What are you giving the grade here?
Another steady Eddie from this division. I gave them a B-. I think there's a lot of disappointment. They weren't able to get Broderick Jones when the Steelers jumped in front of them. But overall, like, I really liked Will McDonald. I had him as a top 30 player in this draft, and I think he fits perfectly for Robert Saleh. You hear Robert Saleh call him and say, we're getting you out of the 4-eye and into the wide 9. And when you watch what Will McDonald does well, you're like, oh, that's going to help him a lot. Joe Tippmann, starting center. Carter Warren, probably long-term swing tackle. If he didn't get hurt this year, you have to wonder where his draft stock would be. Where they made up a lot of ground for me was getting Abanikanda in round 5. Pick 143. I had Abanikanda at number 70 overall in this draft. That outside zone run scheme that Breece Hall, and I know it's a different offensive coordinator, but the offensive philosophies will not be that different. Breece Hall, you're going to kind of limit his workload out of the gate. Now you get the home run hitting threat with Abanikanda. So for the Jets here, it was just a solid draft where they're looking at their roster and going, we just need to be able to survive injuries because we couldn't last year. What'd we do? We went out and got Aaron Rodgers. We have the reigning offensive rookie of the year, the reigning defensive rookie of the year. We like our defense. We have a lot of different bodies on the offensive line, but they've been injured. So we need to make sure that we have now depth behind all of them. Joe Tippmann and Carter Warren aren't necessarily even projected to play right away. I think Joe Tippmann will win out the center job. But Abanikanda was the value selection. And then the Jets just play RAS dartboard on day 3. Like they just take guys that are all above a 9 with relative athletic scores. And they took Kuntz, who was a 10. And you just kind of hope you hit on those. But once again, day 3 dart. So B- for the Jets.
Okay, I've got to give this one a C, man.
Okay.
And I the reason why I'm giving it a C is because you and I talked about this after round 1. I'm worried about offensive tackle.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You make the trade for Aaron Rodgers. It's not even that I don't necessarily like the players. I think they picked Will McDonald higher than I have him on my board. Same thing with Joe Tippmann. I think the guys that were a little bit later in the draft, I think they were appropriate to where I had them ranked. So those are totally fine. But you're overdrafting the top 2 guys a little bit higher than where I had them. Not that that makes them bad football players, just a little bit of a reach compared to my board. I wasn't the biggest Joe Tippmann fan. Can understand other people who really like him in his size profile to be a versatile interior offensive lineman for him.
I like JMS better. I was a little surprised by that.
Yeah,
but they wanted the athleticism,
and like you said, like he could be their starting center, so it could all work out for him. Will McDonald, he's kind of playing maybe that same situation that Bryce Huff played in, who was awesome, but I don't think the redundancy really matters there because you just need good pass rushers, and I think Will McDonald's going to be a good one. But when I look at their offensive tackles, you and I have talked about it, right? It's Dwayne Brown, it's Mekhi Becton. If either of those guys get hurt at any point through a 17-game regular season,
it gets scary.
It's beyond
Max Mitchell better be ready to go.
And I like Max Mitchell, but I'm still even. It's the part that really bugs me about it is they had pick 13 and they needed
swapping
to do
was dumb.
They needed to do what they needed to do to get Aaron Rodgers done before the draft. But I think Brian Gutekunst also knew that. Because I don't think Goody was really worried about Van Ness being off the board by 15 versus 13.
Strange. Well, unless New England really liked him, but yeah.
Which maybe, but because they did pick Keon White, so maybe that could have been the case. But ultimately, I look at the Jets giving up that pick of 13 to 15 and then not staying aggressive to get jumped by Pittsburgh. Maybe they didn't have a chance because New England's in the same division. Maybe they weren't going to trade with them. It just sucks. It was hard for me to watch Broderick Jones get picked 1 ahead of them, knowing 100%. Now what their offensive tackle room is. So I gave him a C. Not that the players are necessarily bad, but the way that they went about the draft, it was tough. So
it makes you wonder if AVT will have to play tackle again at some point this year, because now you have Tippmann at center and you can kick McGovern to guard. But we'll see with the Jets.